let's move to what we have called integrated rural housing strategies. We have understand what are the EU opportunities, what are the critical challenges. Now let's see how some different territories at national, regional, local level are looking at their concrete rural housing challenges and how to tackle them in a holistic way. So we're going to have 3 presentations, and without further ado, I would like to welcome the first one. We will start with the national level from France. Alexandre Huet from the Agence Nationale de l'Habitat, the National Agency of Housing. Good morning, Alex, if you can hear me.
Hello, good morning. Yes.
Good morning, thanks a lot. We are pleased to have you with us today, and please tell us a bit more about the public support for housing in France with this particular focus on rural areas. The floor is yours, Alexandre.
Okay, yes, it is good for the presentation. You see it?
Yes, we see it.
Okay.
Maybe you can still put it in even full mode.
Yeah.
So that is even easier. Voilà.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Hello, good morning. So I am Alexandre Huet. At the National Agency for Housing, I work on private housing with a particular focus on substandard housing, condominium in difficulties, and territorial revitalization. For this present, I will present you a quick overview of French rurality, the HANA scope of intervention, and finally, how HANA helps rural areas. I'll prepare this presentation with Fanny Landy Ramirez and Clara Perez. Thank you for First of all, I would like to give you a brief overview of rurality in France. And as you can see from the map, the rural area accounts for a very large proportion of the French territory. It's about 9 of 10 municipalities, and it is 20 million inhabitants. Those areas suffer from demographic and economic decline and are concerned by various issues like exposition to climate risk, an aging population with specific housing needs, an issue of density in the whole neighborhood of small town, and stock of market by deterioration and energy inefficient building. And finally, municipalities with very limited financial resources. The France Rurality Plan, launched in 2023, aims strengthening and revitalizing rural areas. It based on a historical intervention frameworks and target 4 main actions. Acknowledge rural area contribution to the ecological transition goal, support local government with technical engineering assistance, extend rural revitalization area, and improve everyday life condition with a set of measures, including housing. The scope of HANA is focused on the last one. So let me introduce the agency, its missions, and how it helps rural territory. The National Agency for Housing was founded in 1971. Its mission is to implement the national policy on developing and improving existing assets in the private housing sector. The target area is the whole French territory. It's very important. HANA grants aid to 6 types of beneficiaries: own occupants, landlords in exchange for rent constants, condominium in difficulties, improve housings to renovate unhealthy dwelling, improve the thermal efficiency of housing. As a public institution, HANA is responsible for implementing the policy of 5 main ministries: territory planning, housing, city, ecological transition, and energy. To illustrate our contribution, I put together some information about our result in 2024. As we can see, we are involved on a massive scale with over 400,000 homes renovated with 3.7 billion euros in subsidies. We have 3 main categories of subsidy, like MaPrimeRénov', MaPrimeAdapt', and MaPrimeLogement Décent. I forgot. No, okay. No, I would like to share with you the HANA specific action on rurality. one of the most important aspects, particularly in relation to rural issue, is that ANA contracts with local authorities to distribute subsidies. Today, 78% of rural municipalities are covered by an agreement with ANA, and by the end of 2025, almost 100% of rural municipalities will be covered. The purpose of this agreement, which runs for 3 to 5 years, is to define a framework for financial commitment and the number of homes to be renovated. It's like a pact, a rural pact. With those agreements, it's possible to provide information, advice, and support from homeowners. Finally, for experiencing difficulties, it's still possible to integrate reinforced action on substandard housing and the fight against vacancy, for example. As a part of France Rurality program, ANA has made commitment to maintain a large-scale distribution of subsidy to improve housing, adapt agreement in response to the need of municipalities, like the lack of financial, and introduce engineering solution in rural areas. One important measure was the creation of a specific subsidy to tackle housing vacancy. A third of housing vacancy are in rural area, and this measure aims to returning vacant home to the rental market and tackle the artificialization of land by enhancing the value of existing housing. The introduction of this bonus is based on a national plan and the implementation of statistical monitor vacancy. It's like that. It's on the French national vacant housing plan. And municipality can use this data to focus their communication effort and grants ANA on this vacant housing. It's a special subsidies by 5,000 euro per housing unit. And at least we would like to present you quickly share you the experience, an illustration of municipalities in the rural Alpes de Haute-Provence department. It's a rural department, which thanks to engineering funding from the ANA, has developed a very strong intervention in the fight against substandard housing. Within this framework, ANA financial studies, social support, and renovation operation on the scale of interiors buildings that threaten the occupant of the dwellings. So we have a very strong action on this kind of territory. And I finish. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alexander, and also all the other colleagues in the ministry in France and in the ANA for preparing this comprehensive presentation. In the chat, you have the link to the website where you can find more of these initiatives that Alexander was mentioning, different tools, different case studies that can be inspiring. I don't see any questions for Alexander in the chat, more like this conversation around data and demographic. So I will pass the floor now to our second two speakers. We are moving from the national to the regional now, from France to the Tyrolean government in Austria. So I would like to welcome Diana Ortner and Hannes Lechner to present your work in rural housing in the Tyrol region. Good morning, Diana and Hannes.
Good morning. Thank you for invitation. We are from the Geschäftsstelle für Dorferneuerung in Tyrol. Next, please. So this is my colleague Hannes Lechner and me, Diana Ortner. Next, please. We are the Department for the Tyrolean Region Government for Sustainable Development for the rural areas since 1985. And as you can see on this page, Tyrol is a little part of Austria, and we have 9 districts, about 277 communities, about 800 inhabitants, and only 12% of our region is usable for permanent settlement. Next, please. And therefore, we developed about 11 components to support Tyrolean villages. And the first, you can see these four components are to support awareness, design, and location development. Our mind is to work with people. Therefore, we have the number one, public relations. We have to strengthen the awareness. And for us, it's like the former speaker was talking about the new Bauhaus. We try to live like this. So it's also a design is also for us very important. Next, please. But also for us is the heritage of our coming is very important. Therefore, we have these three components: architectural heritage, cultural landscape, and also eco plus, because we are also looking for the climate in our work. Next, please. And the next page, we try to work with people. It's very important for us. Therefore, we have local Agenda 21, and we want to strengthen the infrastructure for our villages. Therefore, we make competitions. And the next two are neighborhood development and village center. And these both is introduce you, Hannes. Please, next.
So the first component I'd like to talk about is the neighborhood development. It's a holistic approach where the simultaneous involvement of various experts like architects or urban planners or traffic planners is very important, and they work together with users at the same time to develop a strategy for villages on a site model. Next slide, please. This example shows a settlement in the village of Village Renewal, and it's a settlement that houses new forms of living. So with new forms of living, it's also always very important because the single family home is or used to be very popular in Tyrol, but of course we have these challenges with single family homes that they get too expensive. But these new forms of living, we try to provide the qualities of a single family home in shared developments. And you can see here, this is a master plan for such buildings that are based on existing typologies. Next slide, please. This example shows the village of Lermos. Also here, the new forms of living with these mentioned qualities were very important. And the goal here was to develop a master plan within the center of Lermos. You can see in yellow. Here, the access on foot, urban grain, and green spaces within the development were very important. And as I mentioned, it's always very important to work together with the local inhabitants to develop these developments. Next slide, please. The next component is the village center revitalization. We mainly work with communities, but village center revitalization is a project that also aims at private people, and it works as a promotion for measures to revitalize existing unused buildings. And this is done by financial support and construction advice. Next slide, please. The brief overview of the funding component or the funding aspect, depending on the size of the unit, you get between 4,000 and 16,000 euros if the unit has been vacant for 3 years or more. And there's an allowance if it's a culturally important or protected building. And it's also possible to get a bit less if the refurbishment is only minor. Next slide, please. We'd now like to show you some examples of the village renovation or revitalization project. And as you can see here, for us, it's always very important to highlight that there are always people involved in these projects. not just a project somewhere. There are always people behind each project.
And the old use was a rectory.
And now it's a daycare center for elderly people and houses rooms for local clubs. Next slide, please. Yeah. So this used to be a tavern, and now it has been transformed to 5 flats for permanent use. Permanent use because tourism is also a very important part of our economic structure, and it's important to get permanent residents in certain regions. Next slide, please. So this ensemble of culturally very important farmhouses has been renovated to be a retreat for seminars and therapy. Next slide, please. This used to be a cottage and has been transformed to 2 flats and also a small room for physiotherapy. Next slide, please. And the last example we'd like to show has also been a rectory before, and now is a very nice single-family home. And the whole program of village center revitalization in Tyrol was so successful that the federal government of Austria noticed the success, and the project has now been turned into a leader project. Next slide, please.
Yes, and our goal is to develop and to support villages in their uniqueness and make and keep them livable. Next goal, please. Next sheet, please. And as you can see, there is a prize for European Village Renewal Prize. And the winner was in the year 2016, the Fleece. The center. You can also make your own research to the Village Renewal Prize. Next, please. Or Steinberg am Profan. It was a winner. It was in silver.
2022.
2022.
Next slide, please. And last year, Oberhofen, the village of Oberhofen received the category gold for the Rimmelayal. This used to be a tavern and has now been transformed to rooms for the local community and also clubs. Mm-hmm. So next slide, please.
And as you can see in this slide, we want to strengthen the center and not the surroundings. And our main target is livable and sustainable villages. Thanks for listening, and unsere homepage.
See our website.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hannes and Diana. Congratulations on all those prizes, those examples that you saw, as you mentioned, and people can also find it in the chat. The link to the Village Renewal Unit in the Tyrolian government department. There you can see more of all the work that they do with this neighborhood program, with this village center revitalization. I would like to take actually a question for you from the chat that I'm sure that is also common in other areas, and to see what do you think about it. This is a question that Miguel Martinez wrote. Perhaps also, Miguel, you wish to unmute yourself and take it forward. But you are coming from Pyrenees area, ski research area, which might have some similarities from the Tyrol. You mentioned, Hannes and Diana, the importance of tourism for the economic development of the area, but then this also can trigger some difficulties. For instance, when most of the houses are second home, and this created some tensions between those that want to buy to rent and those that are going for the season. Would you have any comment on that? On if you have been able to prevent this in the Tyrol, or any comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, of course, this is a big discussion in Austria or in Tyrol, and especially in certain villages. a famous one would be Kitzbühel, where home prices got so expensive that
Nobody can afford.
normal inhabitants cannot afford, they cannot think about even buying the land. And also there are very
Poor regions like
there are a lot of houses by huge houses by very rich people that are only here for 2 weeks. And it's a big question what can be done about it. And we have not really found an answer yet. We try to achieve something. There was an initiative by the regional government. It was like a tax on these holiday homes or not used houses, but the fees are quite low compared to how wealthy these people are. So it's not a really answered question for us yet.
But we also have very poor regions, and these regions have other problems. So it's very difficult for us because we have rich regions and poor regions, but we treat everybody similar. And so that's a big effort for us.
Yeah, I can understand. Thank you, Diana, Hannes, for those insights. Let's see if we can continue this conversation later in the group discussions, because I'm certain that there are more areas that are really affected by this. So there are more for the population, shrinking villages, but other there is certain these tensions, this competition that is also pushing out some people, and perhaps and I think this is also something that the Commission will take into account in the housing task force, as they said earlier in the morning. So thank you again for having shared all this, and again, information is there. Also, my colleague Ursula is putting for the European Village Renewal competition and prizes where you have been highly awarded. So now, moving from the region of Tyrol in Austria, I would like to go to the mountainous area of Sierra de la Demanda in the province of Burgos in Spain, and to welcome Débora Serrano from the local action group AGALSA, who is going to present the holistic strategy that they have put together in this mountainous area, also to tackle a large number of different diverse housing issues. So good morning, Débora, and please, the floor is yours.
Hello, good morning. I hope you see my screen. Is it okay? You see it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So good morning to everyone, and thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much to Rural Pact for the invitation to participate in this important event, and also to Patricia Martinez for helping us with it. So we are AGALSA. We are AGALSA Sierra de la Demanda, a local action group in the southeast of Burgos, Castilla y León, Spain. Our area includes more than 100 villages in a mountainous area with 9,500 people living daily in an area of almost 2,000 square kilometers. Its population density is under 5 inhabitants per square kilometer. The most populated village in our area is around 2,000 people, and the most villages have less than 100 inhabitants. So this is our territory. So I am Débora Serrano. I am a member of the board of directors of AGALSA. So as you know, the challenge of housing, the problem in the rural area, is one of the challenges that we have faced as a society. But challenge that for our side is not only to attract population, but also to maintain the current population, improving their quality of life by improving the comfort, renovation, and energy efficiency of their dwellings, and enable access to housing for young people who live in the village and want to leave their parents' side. Okay, so the plan. So we start with a plan and a quick flavor about the background, values, and the root of the problem that is similar to other countries. Rural housing is a complex challenge, as you know, and it is not a simple job, neither with a unique solution. We were aware that to be overcome in a powerful and sustainable way, has to be done with plans that go to the origin of the problem, and therefore with a strategic vision in the short, medium, and long term. Also, we are conscious that as a local action group, we don't have the capacity to influence or solve all the problems. But 3 years ago, when we started to deal seriously with this matter, we realized that are many things that a local action group can lead or cooperate to help others to lead it. The first step we did was to get advice from a professional from our own territory in a strategic real estate matters named Realserma Rural. Realserma helped us to understand the step 1 and step 2, and also helped us to set the strategic lines of the plan and has led step 3 and step 4. So our plan has four steps as you see in the screen. Step 1 was to understand the problem and its different aspects, because the housing problem, as you know, is multifaceted. Step 2, we wanted to delimit the problem and its sub-problems. It is a tree that has a root and grows branches. The step 3, we wanted to quantify the problem for the different population groups. So we are focused on current population, descendant population, that both are homeowners with diverse needs in housings, and the new population that it is demanding buying or renting houses. And after that, define short, medium, and long-term objectives for all of them. And step 4, we wanted to think and carry out different and coordinated projects in the short, medium, and long term that will provide solutions to get the goals that have been set. If we have time, we go through them, but more or less, we have developed more than 20 projects in this plan. From AGALSA, we provide all our knowledge about the area and the challenge of the rural world, and Realserma provide all its knowledge of real estate strategy. This means we were able to work together on a specific housing plan for our territory. But we wanted also local and institutional collaboration. The first thing we noticed is that everything has to be based on public, private, and social partnership with the professional real estate sector itself, which after all is the one that receives these problems and their solutions. Trader sector, builders, technician, agency, lawyers, notaries, financial subsidiaries, strategy, leadership, professional. We work also with professional associations or institutions that bring together professional sector to our territory. Moreover, by helping the real estate sector, we think we are able to solve some of the housing problems we are facing. As a local action group, we cannot forget about financing to be able to develop the plan and the various projects that follow from it. So we keep in touch with the public entities that can provide us with financing. Win-win is like it is our aim in relation to the national institutions. But for example, we give them visibility of our projects and our results. And we also help them in several ways and cooperate so that they can scale up the projects we are doing, and they could give better results if they implemented projects in institutions with a wider range of action. We have such as a laboratory of key projects focused on rural housing. So related to stakeholders, leadership, and integrated coordination, we achieved that AGALSA Sierra de la Demanda plan includes the private sector from the real estate sectors and other sectors that provide synergies and economies of scale of our territory, and the public sector, local, provincial, regional, but also national, in an integrated and coordinated way to provide solutions to the challenge of the different targets in relation to housing through different projects. Some of the projects are led directly by AGALSA, and others are led by other stakeholders, and AGALSA collaborates in different ways. In some, we can provide funding, and in others, we help to give visibility and promote in other ways, because not everything is about money. But everything is done in a coordinated way, taking into account the objectives of the territory and relying on the main advice of Realserma Rural. So to complete this part, the mission, our mission in housing, because the problem is the lack of adequate housing people needs, for their different needs. For us, it is essential that our entire ecosystem has in mind that housing stops being a problem and becomes a solution to the challenge of housing in the rural world, working together with the professional real estate sector and in public, private, and social collaboration. So I don't know if I can take 1 more minute to go.
One more, Débora.
Okay,
yes,
one
please.
more. So some actions and projects that happen in each stage of the plan. So in step 1, what we do was interviews with professionals in the local real estate sector, agency, urban, so a lot of interviews that we have the blog of Sierra de la Demanda on internet. Also, we perform market and price studies. What is demand in Sierra de la Demanda in our territory and how is the offer? Okay, in second 2, we wanted to go through the different problems. So we do a problem categorization. We found more than 60 problems, challenge that has to be solved in order to tackle the rural housing. We distinguish between general problems in the supply market, in the housing stock, or in other several topics, but also more than 40 problems challenge that has the real estate sectors, the technical and building sector, the construction sector, efficient energy, and challenge in the marketing and in agencies that also need to go through them, and also challenge and concerns in the councils. In the third step, we wanted to quantify very good the different demand. So we launched the needs detection campaign and an omni-channel face-to-face and digital communication campaign to several targets. I want to spend more time in the village, connected with the repopulation, or target that a current homeowner that need building work, renovation, and other targets, okay? And in step 4, that are several projects that we have launched. We have here more than 30 projects to solve some of the problems of the rural housing. We have a 360 professional network platform with more than 80 enterprises. We have a home price calculator that is very connected with something that Martin said before. And this calculation calculates prices based on salary and distinguish between secondary homes and first home. We have been present at CIMA Real Estate exhibition in Madrid to give visibility to our professionals. We also had our own Housing Demand Fair Congress, Sierra de la Demanda, Demanda Vivienda, Demanda Housing Congress. And we do workshops on publishing housing offers. We have a lot of cooperation agreements with other institutions. We had an inventory of public housing. We did advise on financing subsidies for energy efficiency, and we also collaborate with another institution project, a specific project that now is in our province related to rental housing in the rural area. So more or less, this is a quick flavor of what we are doing.
Thank you very much, Débora. Indeed, it's a quick flavor of all these steps that you have gone through to put the strategic housing plan in your territory, and highlighting the importance of the public-private partnership with the close collaboration of the real estate market to unlock all these opportunities. More information in the chat, and the presentation will be available so people have more time to go into detail on all this. And also perhaps during the group discussions, you can even share more about the different platforms, calculator. There are many tools that have been created as part of these housing platforms that I'm sure could be interesting, even transferred to other territories.